This is Alice Rose of Conversations with Alice Rose, and I would like to introduce my guest today, Christine Whitney of Phoenix Farms in Cromwell, Connecticut, certified organic farmer, and we are going to tell her story of how she became an organic farmer and what she's doing now. The farm has been going for 15 years. She'd purchased it from her mother. She'd been raised as a farm daughter. And she has relatives also next door to her with their families who are involved, I think, also. Yes. So begin, darling. You named it the Phoenix Farm.
I did. It's nice to be with you, Alice. We named it Phoenix Farm because my parents' farm name was Lassen Farm.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 1957 is when it became Lassen Farm. It used to be Ellsworth Dairy prior to that. And my maiden name is Valencia.
Oh, pretty.
And my married name is Whitney.
Okay.
So when we moved to the farm, we needed a new name for the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Backing up a little bit, our next door neighbor asked my mother if she could preserve the farm as certified organic in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
So from 97 to 2000, it went through a transitional process and became certified organic at like the land next door. So when I bought the land from my mom, they used to farm conventionally prior to 97. They didn't use commercial pesticides, but they did use commercial fertilizers.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember as a child picking the bugs off by hand and caring for things that way.
At a certain age, kids might enjoy that.
Certain age. Girls are a little squirrely. So we needed a new name for the farm. And since she was reborn as an organic farm, we named her Phoenix Farm.
Ah, very
that's
good.
where
And
the
I
name
like
comes
you
from.
have it incorporated into your logo, which is
We
really.
do.
And you, the reason I know you is because I like to go to the farmers market here in Wethersfield. Do you do more than one farmers market?
We do. So we do the Wethersfield Farmers Market. We also do the Cromwell, Town of Cromwell Farmers Market, which is on Fridays in the summer. That one's ended for the season. And we also belong to the Coventry Summer Market and the Coventry Winter Market.
I've never made it out to Coventry for that market. I'd love to. Anyway, so now you went through recertification recently.
We did, yeah. That was about 10 days ago. They come out yearly, and they inspect the farm. And it actually starts back in March, where you submit your recertification application, and then they review your organic plan and what you're going to be doing, and they review your seeds, where you've purchased your seeds, and what your expectations are for the year, and what practices that you're going to be using during the year. And once they've gone through the paperwork end of it, then they send an inspector out to the farm.
Well, you said that the land had to be cleansed first before you could enter into the.
Before it became certified organic, yes.
Right. And how did they cleanse it, I wonder?
It's a 3-year process. So you're not adding any kind of commercial fertilizers that you were using beforehand, or if there was any kind of pesticide residue beforehand, which there was not. But if there was, that all has to stop. And then for the next 3 years, they amend the soil organically. So they're composting it, they're doing soil samples and seeing what amendments would be needed. If there's any kind of mineral deficiencies, then those minerals would be added back in. So it's all natural, it's all organic, and it's this 3-year process that the soil is just being taken care of and loved.
Okay. And actually, with little help, a little supportive assistance, the soil does return to the natural balancing.
It will. The microorganisms that live below the soil come back, they regenerate, and and that's why she's Phoenix Farm. She was reborn. Just
Out
like
of the ashes of the old.
Just like the Phoenix was reborn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's lovely. And I love your presentation. You raise such extraordinary things when I see your booth there at the farmers market. I just love it. I always discover something wonderful heirloom tomatoes and things like that. And I'm absolutely blown away by the round zucchini that I never heard of before. It fascinates me.
Yep.
And not only one, the green, but there's also the yellow. And that I used to love when you had these itty bitty
Oh, the little tiny spoon tomatoes.
Yes, I know. They were so sweet. I loved them.
So I was blessed to have a wonderful organic mentor. So Kathy and Benny Caruso, they own the farm that abuts my farm, that abut my mother's farm. They're the ones who took the farm through the cleansing process and then steward the land. And they farmed on their farm, which was Upper 40 Farm, and they farmed on Lassen Farm. And and my youngest daughter Danielle went to Middletown's vocational program, vocational agriculture, and she actually interned with Kathy and Benny for organic farming, and that's what she did her senior dissertation on.
Is that school still in business?
It is. So Middletown High has a vocational agricultural program where you can learn ag mechanics. You can also learn plant sciences and animal sciences.
I think Rocky Hill is doing something also with their school system there, but what they're trying to teach the kids is hydroponics.
Yep.
Well, I suppose that's organic too. I don't know. Is it?
It's interesting. So some hydroponics are certified organic. It's a different animal.
And it's indoors. It's in a building.
It's indoors. It's in water. And the core belief of farmers who are certified organic, who have been growing organically, the USDA approved for hydroponic to be certified organic. And for us, it's all about the soil and the health of the soil, and hydroponics doesn't have soil. So they can add things to it and they can change things to it, but the same microorganisms and all the liveliness that's in the soil, that's not in the water. So how could that be the same and carry the same certification? So there's a movement for real organic that folks are, sticking to the soil and staying away from the hydroponic side of.
Well, I told you I'm a member of a now nonprofit organization that's trying to preserve upland farm that had been purchased by the town here for the use of all the people residing in Wethersfield.
Okay.
But you have, like vultures waiting in the wings, trying to swoop down and grab up the land for some development or another, and it's been a fight for some time.
I'm sure open land is, upland land is precious.
Yeah, but you preserved.
So a Phoenix farm is preserved. So I bought the farm in 2009 from my mom, and it was already certified organic. And we went one more step, and we also preserved the farm through small farm land preservation with the town of Cromwell, with the state of Connecticut, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Christine, we have monthly meetings, usually the third Thursday from 6 p.m. or so in the town library here for this group, Friends of Keisha Farm.
Okay.
My dream is that they would rent out to those who want to do summer gardens, which they do in town here for space that now may be needed for something else. But with a proviso that whoever rents a plot of land from Keisha, and that way the town could gain money to help support maintaining it as a free green space, which I feel is very important. Part of it is preserved because it's been declared historic interest, Yeah. So, but not all. But that's turning more or less into like an entertainment venue. But that's not what's there. They have greenhouses that could be rebuilt, brought up to snuff, things like that I think are very important. My whole philosophy is that if you don't grow good food locally, we're like this dock workers strike that's going on. You're going to see shortages in the grocery stores. You can't depend on distance supply of food in the near future. And you always need that safety net.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's
for a community to be self-sustaining is important. To know where your food is coming from and the fact that it has, so when folks are buying from us or when I'm traveling to the Wethersfield Farmers Market, there's 7 miles on that produce. That's it. And if people come to the farm, there's 0 miles on it until they take it and then bring it home. When you're purchasing things at the grocery store, it could have been picked weeks ago, a month ago, and it could be traveling thousands of miles, if not from another country.
Well, that's true. And many of the things that you get, for instance, CRT serves meals here that you sign up for and for $3 a meal. And the thing is, like, they'll have fresh fruit as dessert. Okay, but this has traveled in a freezer from God knows where. It might say on a little label somewhere. You can read that small. But anyway, and it's been waxed, which I hadn't realized. It's been waxed.
Oh.
And I always wash my fruit when I get home anyway, but I didn't realize it was also wax on it. You really have to do hot water, make sure that wax is off, because you don't know what,
Yeah, certified organic, and nothing can be waxed.
That kind of thing. And then so many, like cinnamon. I love cinnamon. I like to give a dash in my coffee. I'm into herbs. And cinnamon is supposed to help you control blood sugar levels. Okay, so I like to put a dash of it in my coffee. I limit the amount of coffee that I drink, too. But anyhow, now they come up and say there's lead in the darn powder cinnamon. And I mean, I'm going to have to find somewhere that has the rolled up full cinnamon bark and grind it myself, I guess. Make sure that I'm grinding it doesn't contain lead.
Yeah, definitely have to be careful where you're sourcing things from.
Well, that's another argument for getting food locally. At least if you find something wrong, you can track it back and say, what are you doing? The other thing what I can't convince, somehow the men of this world have been persuaded by the petrochemical companies that absolutely you have to have, as a homeowner, particularly a suburban homeowner, a monocultural short grass with nothing else growing. So everybody gets their little lawn care people to poison everything in sight, including the water table. And they don't see the difference, but I, who am interested in botanicals and whatnot, I love my weeds. I think they're fascinating. I know which ones can have particular uses and things like that. But I see changes. I've been owned my home here in Wethersfield for about 35 years now. I grew up in Wethersfield, but then my career took me other places. But I'm aware of the fact that there are no longer lightning bugs in June, that there are no longer tree frogs singing in the springtime, that there are no longer, I had a pod of 17-year locusts in my backyard. They seem to have vanished. Everybody up and downside, I'm as weedy as can be, and everybody says, oh, she's not keeping up the property. Quite the contrary. The poor robins, they come after rain looking for earthworms. Where are they going to find them? Well, actually, the birds all come to my yard. And not only that, the fox and the rabbits and the everything. It's like sometimes you drive into my drive, and it looks like a peaceable kingdom. Everybody's there. The rabbits, the squirrels, the birds. Anyhow, including a woodchuck for a couple of years. Then that one disappeared, and it's so funny. Later that year that I didn't, somehow the woodchuck had taken off somewhere. Okay, and 4 doors down from me was somebody complaining, I just put in a beautiful garden for my sister, and guess what? A woodchuck came and ate everything up. I said, that's where it went. Oh, well.
Yeah. The grass is always greener on the other side. You found something to eat down the road.
Okay, well, I'm glad he went because he was eating too much on my road.
There you go.
Okay, well, what else can I tell you? I think I want you to come and speak to Keisha Farm when they have their meeting. Is that possible for you to do?
I can do that.
Yeah, 6 p.m. For about an hour and a half. They're just starting up again because over the summer they weren't having meetings. But I'll speak to them. James Woodward is the one that's heading the nonprofit at this point. He has done he's a retired gentleman, probably closer to my age, but he has had preserved walking areas, several in this town that really add to the ambience of being a wonderful place to live. Went along Folly Brook, and he got land preserved in that respect. He got another walkway that was really incredible. It's down along the highway where you go over the bridge. And it had been used, farmers had used that land, and somebody told him that they were always turning up little artifacts in bone in the thing. So he went and looked and had, I guess, the State Archaeological Society look. Lo and behold, it was an ancient Indian burial ground.
Oh, okay.
So he got it preserved, and they had the people from Muskegon Sun and Pequots from Foxwoods to come down and do, various things and move the bones, whatever they had collected, to a safer burial somewhere else. And then built a walkway, which they discovered had a lot of plants that have long since been thought to become extinct in Wethersfield.
Oh, okay.
So that was wonderful.
That's exciting.
Yeah. But he's there at the farmer's market often,
He does. He's actually come to the farm.
Oh, wonderful. You know him.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Good. Okay, they usually were meeting the third Thursday of every month. I'll have to call up and see if they would like to have you come. Would that be of interest to you?
It would. Yeah,
How soon?
You can certainly ask.
Well, Thursday evening, what are you doing as a rule?
After next Thursday, my Thursdays are free
Mm-hmm.
because tomorrow and next Thursday are the last two farmers markets for the season.
Oh, and I hope to make them. I have a transportation problem.
After the 10th of October, my Thursday evenings open up.
Oh, it's been a joy to me to have you and talk to you about. I think we're kindred spirits. I grew up here in Wethersfield. It was all farming. I mean, there were cows going up to pasture in the morning, coming back home at night. Everybody had like a little mini farm because this was 1935 and 1940. And my school years, of course, were the war years. Everybody had to have a victory garden, and you collected all scrap and whatnot to donate to the war and all. We did a lot of things to just support the war effort. And anyway, so that's why I guess there's a farmerette in me. I remember sleeping with chickens, which everybody laughs at, but I love chickens. I even had them at my house here in Wethersfield. And you were allowed to keep 5 hens and no roosters. However, I got away with I hatched them out myself. They were so wonderful. I got them from somebody at a fair, I think was down in Higganum or someplace like that. But anyway, I went to a fair and they had a tent, where they showed the rabbits and the geese and everybody and the chickens and whatnot. And somebody had a table where they were hatching out little chicks. And so it was 3 for $1. So that's how I got started. Huh?
That's a bargain.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to teach my neighbors' kids where food comes from. They were all under 5 years old. And I thought that was important to do. So I put in a garden for them, and, they helped me weed and stuff like that. And then we got the chickens because I was in the feed place. It was so funny. Some farmer, I was telling my story about teaching the kids where food comes from and how one of the grandmothers were trying to explain to the kid where milk came from, and the kid was saying, "Ooh, I'll never touch that stuff again." And I thought, okay, kids have to know where food is coming from. So we had the garden, we had the chickens, and so that was a start in life for them to know where food came from. Oh, well, the old farmer, wait till they find out where eggs come from.
Or which one came first?
Well, okay, I say the hen came first.
That I do not know the answer.
No, I don't think anybody does, but I just have a feeling that's so. All right. I thank you so much for your input.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It's been
I
very.
enjoyed chatting with you.
Oh, I enjoyed chatting with you, and I certainly hope that we will get together this coming meeting for the Friends of
Absolutely.
Keisha Farm.
Absolutely.
Particularly, I want you to present the idea of the different ways in which land can be preserved.
Hmm. Yeah, and I can give you guys some suggestions as to who you could speak to at the town level and who you could speak to at the Department of Ag.
Well,
For
they
that.
have different people who volunteer to research for grants and stuff.
Oh, perfect.
So, a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's not an overnight process.
No,
When we
no.
preserved the farm, it was about 3.5 years to go through that whole process. But it's the right thing to do. That it'll be
Yeah, but the
open land.
advantages are not so important these days with climate change and all uncertainty as to whether or not we will have access to all the goods that we, it was, a very important life lesson to me to be growing up during war years and everything that we had to do to keep on going at home as well as abroad.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I think generationally wise, I think now people
It's become
they've
this.
lost touch with that.
Yeah, it's
And
a
it's
throwaway
more-
generation
it's-
too.
And it's instant gratification.
Yeah.
And they can have it here. And if I had $1 for everybody who has come to the farmer's market and said to me, oh, why does your product cost this? I could go to the grocery store and I could get 3 for $1.
But
2
you're not
for
getting the
$1.
same quality.
And
You're
I
not
said-
getting the same quality.
And my response is, by all means, go to the grocery store and buy the 3 for $1 if that's what you want. But when we're bringing product to the farmer's market, it's anywhere from a couple of hours old to 24 hours old, and it's fresh. Its nutrients are in it,
And it's safe.
And it's safe. There's nothing's been sprayed on it. Nothing. And we tell people like the little kids come and they get a bag of blueberries, and we're like, they could eat them now. You don't have to take them home. You don't have to put them in water and baking soda and try and get whatever was sprayed on them from some nursery somewhere. And people enjoy that. They enjoy that they can eat the cherry. They can give their children a bag of cherry tomatoes or a carrot off the table, and they can eat the carrot right then and there. That's important to folks to have that.
Well, see, we go into a whole nother thing with that about what contaminants are in food and how they're poisoning us, and the whole thing about plastics. Everyone born at this point in time will have, if they analyze the contents of the blood, will contain chemicals that were part of something plastic.
I can believe that.
It's in the ocean. It's in the air. It's in the soil. Petrochemical companies being sued by the Attorney General of California at this time because they're saying, "Oh, we can reuse it. Recycle." Not true. It doesn't recycle. It's like the PFAS stuff. It breaks down into little particles. You can find it in the stomach of baby turtles out in the ocean.
Yeah, it's microscopic.
Yeah.
All the little tiny pieces.
So
I've
we've
gone.
literally infested the whole world with plastic at the behest of the petrochemical industry. I'm sorry. We got to get rid of petroleum using it that way because, after all, it was sequestered according to the whatever mechanism's been set up on the earth to support life. That stuff was sequestered into the ground for a reason. That's a way of handling a waste. And now we're reintroducing all that waste and literally destroying the earth if we don't do it by, wars or other foolishness like that. It's just heading... we got to turn around, do something else. That's my opinion. I mean, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I could go on forever. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
It's been
you very
such a
much.
joy.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.